Welcome to The Perfect Balance, where this is the podcast where we discover your symptoms are not the problem, with your hosts, Eva Vennari, Dr. Heather Kneale, and Leslie Brown. Join us as we jump right into this episode. Welcome into The Perfect Balance, where we talk about your symptoms are not the problem. Today we're going to talk about why is it only 10% of New Year's resolutions are realized? Let's jump in. Who's with us today?
Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Kneale. I'm co-founder of Global Nutritional Healing, and we offer mineral balancing certificate programs.
And I'm Joy Feldman. I also am co-founder of Global Nutritional Healing and What She Said.
And I'm Leslie Brown, CEO and founder of Conquer Chronic Illness.
And I'm the last of the four hosts here today. My name is Eva Vennari, founder of the Elevate Institute, and I help high achievers overcome it's just hard to get healthy, isn't it? And isn't that what we're talking about? This is that we set goals for ourselves. Why do we do that? Let's talk about the first why. Why do we decide to set New Year's resolutions? Let's jump into there.
So why would be because we haven't successfully done the things that we've wanted throughout the year. I would think that would be a major why. Maybe like we put it off all year, or maybe in 2 years or more. And you're just like, I have to do this. So I'm going to wait for the New Year's resolution to actually make that my big New Year's goal, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why we make them.
And I think the other reason is just psychologically, it's like a clean start. It's kind of a way to say goodbye to all those bad habits we might have had over the year. And we were like, it's a new beginning. So that could be another reason like people like to do these New Year's resolutions.
I think that New Year's resolutions and goal setting in general are really important if you want to accomplish things in life. It's a mindfulness that life is short and we have things that we want to accomplish. And there's kind of an old expression, but it says if you aim at nothing, you're very likely to hit it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And the importance of having resolutions, because there really are goals of what you want your life to look like.
Yeah, and on that note, if you aim for the moon and hit the stars, or the other way around, my dyslexia is kicking in. You aim for the stars and hit the moon, you've at least exited the the Earth atmosphere. Like you've gone somewhere. And I suppose that's some sense of it. But if we look at the statistics, and I want to get into that specifically, but it's like there is a tactical way of going about living our lives where it becomes this, I'll do this to get that. And that's how I see goals. But I think goals, and including our New Year's resolutions, and we'll get to that later, is if we're living through a conscious lens, then we're more likely to pick things that support long-term goals instead of things that are driven by society's needs for us to be accepted into it. That said, let's look at the statistics. What did you bring up, Heather?
So 30% of Americans make New Year's resolutions. And of the 30%, less than 10% actually fulfill those goals. And the age group is 18 to 29. So we're all out. None of us are this group cannot make a New Year's resolution.
Oh, I think about, those statistics and all the years my family, we go around the table and we talk about what resolutions might be. And I don't even think we made it till the spring, doing what we were going to do. So, it's interesting to hear those statistics, Heather, and see, kind of where people are with that.
Especially for that younger group. I think that's a real popular thing that people do when they're younger. It's kind of, you're aware of like, what's going on in my life and how do I stop feeling like I'm walking on jello all the time and get some sense of purpose to move forward. So I makes sense to me, that age group. And then after a while, you start to see people that fall out of the race, so to speak. I think what they really do is they get satisfied for just going with wherever the day directs them, as opposed to really having intention and purpose with their lives. And then those of us who do have an intention as a purpose end up doing podcasts and reaching a lot of people and expanding our businesses, into 40, 50, 60, 70, and even 80s, it's and on. We're not limited by all of that. And on the resolutions, I think that a lot of the reasons that they fail is because it's not really a vision of what people want life to look like. Because if you have an idea of what you want to accomplish, and in this case, we're going to talk about improving health, then that vision never changes. But how you get there might have some twists and turns and ups and downs in between, but the vision doesn't change. I call it a goal or an objective is too short term. But you understand what I'm saying? That is the vision. That's where you're headed. And I think part of it is people they make their goals or their resolutions impossible to follow. Now, I said stick with the vision. I also have friends that are a couple, and she said, well, she was going to be a hard body by June. And she actually met that goal, but she was overwhelmed by it. And her husband said, I'm going to make one step into a gymnasium somewhere in the world. And he easily accomplished his goal. They're a very successful couple, but they go around it with two different kinds of thinking.
I just want to add something to what you both said. I just happened to find the statistic while you were talking. 80% of resolutions fail. Are you ready for this? By the second week of February. That is crazy. So, this is a really good conversation to have because of all the work we do with our clients and, we work helping people really transform their lives. And this is kind of, I think, a really great place to kind of have the discussion about, why resolutions fail, but also why people fail when they're trying to make changes.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue into the expectations around resolutions. So this is a very personal objective, personal goal setting. What are you trying to achieve? And can you isolate your desires for this achievement and provide the fuel to overcome the give upness that I just heard about that happens in week 2 of February on an average, right? So there has to be some motivation from within. So these are two different things to kind of, poke around and see what are some really good strategies around creating positive expectations in our New Year's resolutions. Right. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So having a support group, like a group of, like your family or a friend or somebody who wants to do something similar to you, but it's not always, you don't always have to, like, even for me, my issue has been that when I used to make them, I put too many things. I put a list of like 50 things. I'd be like, okay, this is what I want to do for the year. Bum, 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 bum. And I'm like, all right. So, I go through the year and I go back and I go, oh, I got a couple of them done. But, those are the easier ones. But I think I was overwhelming myself with too many things that I wanted to change. So that was another issue. And I really like what you said, Eva, about coming from within. If you're not really wanting something, if you don't really want it, you're not going to get it.
Thank you. Well, I was going to add to what you're saying. I think not only too many, which is really true, Heather, but unrealistic expectations like committing to run a marathon without any prior training or completely transform your lifestyle overnight. And, these overambitious goals just lead people to burnout and frustration and giving up when they don't see the results that they want. So, there's this Japanese method, the name is escaping me at the moment, but where they break down like a big goal into extremely small baby steps. It'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. And
Kaizen.
What's it called?
Is it the Kaizen method?
That's it. Thank you. Yes. And so I had a client who refused to exercise at all. So we started with the smallest baby step, which was opening her front door and just walking to the mailbox and coming back in.
Mhm.
And so I think if people just break down these goals into very small steps and focus on consistency rather than perfection, that they have a better shot at completing whatever it is that they set as an expectation.
Mhm.
Thank you, Leslie, for Kaizen. It's really a cool method. If anybody who's listening wants to read about it, there's a lovely book all about it. And
And that's the title of it.
yes, Kaizun, right?
Close. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's
That's the title.
1% better every day is the idea.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, an American guy went over to teach them that in Japan because the American manufacturing companies listened to him.
That's right.
So look what's happened now.
Yeah.
Right.
They have no manufacturing, and Japan's got good quality.
Yeah.
Yes, it's with simple ideas, 1% improvement a day, small steps. There are a couple of there's so much to talk about on this, and so I hope listeners just land on one thing and can follow through with it. But one was about transforming overnight an overly ambitious goal. But what I talk to people with addictions of some kind, it could be chemical addictions, could be alcoholism, it could be any illness. It could be maybe they've got bad habits. They're smoking. They're not exercising. They're doing a lot of things that everybody knows isn't really good. And then they come in, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do this program because I know you're going to tell me to quit. No, we aren't. We're not going to tell you to do anything except take one or two steps moving forward. And then pretty soon your body starts to heal itself and those things lose their attraction in a very big way. So just know that it's not about giving up as much as it is about taking steps in a way that really builds you up. Another thing I was triggered, that was Joy triggered me on that. Now Heather triggered me on another one, which is accountability. And a long time ago, I heard somebody say, you just run as fast as you can towards your goal. And when you're into it, you look to your right and you look to your left and see who's catching up with you or who's keeping pace with you. That's your tribe. That's your group. Those are the people you want to run. Because we also run into a lot of people, not just in this area in health, but just in any area of business. And they want to throw a lot of money at a situation and pretend that that's accomplishment without really putting any effort into it. And then they'll say, oh, I tried it. Well, this isn't the program for you. So if that's you, just listen, enjoy, but don't mess with it. But for the people who are running the race and staying in and staying strong, that's who we want to be with. And the four of us, there are a lot of people who have been mineral balancing practitioners, but we all work together. And that's why we're here. We hold each other accountable and we get and ask each other questions, encourage each other and value each other and all sorts of things. And that's why you want a practitioner who has that same kind of belief and feeling and thought, because their energy will come across to you, your energy will connect, you guys are going to make some great accomplishments together. But that's how it happens. Okay.
I want to say one thing. You triggered something with me. When I was younger, I used to work for a gym. I worked for mini gyms. And I used to sign people up for year, memberships. And I will tell you the busiest time of the year, and I worked there too. So I taught exercise, I taught the kickboxing, weight training, all that. The busiest time of the year was during resolutions. People would come in, you throw money at it, and I would never see them ever again. I started talking people out of it. I got into trouble by our manager, but I felt so bad because I knew this lady was not going to come back. And I'm like, please don't spend all this money. I said, why don't you just take a class, try a class? And so, yes, you made me think about that.
It's a business strategy too, is really based on people, on business owners knowing that people aren't going to follow through. That is a very profitable business strategy. That isn't how we had to operate. We want the people who want to make definite changes because it's a long-term commitment. And or at least give it 3 months to see if it's for you or not. And if and when it is, we move forward with you. Yeah. Eva?
Yeah, I think there is a big problem with setting a lump sum, taking your checklist of all these things I want to achieve and putting it into a metaphorical hamburger and trying to take a bite out of it. So I spent years in information technology as a project manager. And if I took to that mentality, I would have never been successful as a project manager. You have things that you can do first that is the prerequisite to everything else. And I like to use this phrase a lot, get there and then. So you have a first set. You set yourself a small goal. Maybe that one is by the end of the first week, like taking Joy's, just go to the mailbox and come back. Maybe you're a little further along, go around the block, do something that fits in with what you already do, but make it 10% more difficult. That's your get there. That's your first goal. That's your first set of. And if you can get to that, once you get to there, regardless of the time frame, it's really good to set yourself with an expiration date or a due by date. But if you don't get there, it's not, oh, guess I don't get to do that. No, you keep going until you get there. I set myself goals every single month for being in marketing and doing the work and building my business. If I don't get there at the end of the month, do I just quit my job? No, I keep going. Maybe it takes an extra week into the following month. I get there, and then I set a new goal. And I think we could do the same thing here, rather than the laundry list. Keep that on a to-do, and then what you're doing is actually on your calendar. And so the same way that I manage my business is how I manage my personal goals. And I think that would be something that's just a little strategy that I help with my clients and teach them how to take their laundry list of things they want to heal within themselves and go, all right, what can we do holistically to support all of this? So other strategies, let's talk about more strategies.
So I like that with the coming up with different ways to do it, because I think small steps, and I always congratulate myself. I mean, I have little parties almost every day when I do stuff. I get done with things and I'm, my husband makes fun of me because I'm just like, oh, and I'm just like, I'm going to go make my favorite food because I just did X, Y, and Z, and he's like, you just did that yesterday. I'm like, yep, I'm celebrating again, So I think, kind of congratulating yourself or, going to your favorite restaurant, whatever it is that for you is like a reward. For me, I mean, dancing around the house is a reward,
Mm-hmm.
I get really excited. So it motivates me and it keeps my mood up, because I'm always like, hey, I did that one thing. Now I can move on to the next. And so that's a strategy of rewarding myself.
That's great. I like that. I want to see you dance around the house now, Heather.
Oh, Heather.
All
So I
right.
show my age,
Oh, God. Well, what I was going to share is I think what happens for a fail is that people don't look at the underlying behavior. So how do you fix that? How do you make it better? So I think if people in general could, if they set a goal, let's say it's to lose weight, but they don't address any underlying maybe triggers or emotional issues or embodied responses that activate people's behavior, you're going to have a fail. So to fix that, I think it's really important. The first thing that I would recommend is really being mindful and embodied in what you're feeling, which is not always a comfortable thing for people to do. But I think if you can reflect on what the triggers and barriers are, I think you have a better chance of being successful. And it might be nice. I think somebody mentioned this. I think it was you, Heather, about partnering with somebody, having somebody to be accountable to, but or even somebody you're working with, even if it's in this health related field, like any of us, to be accountable to and to help you. But I think if you don't address the underlying behavior, it's really hard to have a successful change. So the fix would be to reflect, do a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness around those issues.
Mm-hmm. I started to put breaking down the goal into tasks. I wanted to get little objectives. I put them on my calendar after I learned how to do that. When I look at my calendar, and I have it on repeat every week, right? So when I look at it and I haven't been able to check it off, that's when I reflect. I go, do I really want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something getting in the way? And so that's a tool, a concrete tool that I use to be able to reflect. So I think that's very important. So I'm totally in agreement, and also totally in agreement on accountability. And one of the things I find, at least as practitioners, we run into people that run up against a stuck spot, come to their own conclusion and stop. And there's a benefit to working with the coach. When I'm at the gym, I work with the coach only to find out. In fact, earlier this week, my coach said, Leslie, you're doing twice as much work as you need to do, and it's not going to be effective. I said, well, I am a type A overachiever. And she goes, no kidding. So she cut me back and had me slow down. But she knew stuff that I didn't even know to look at. And then she could highlight what I really needed to keep my eyes on. And it's the same thing for us as practitioners with our kind of coaching relationship with our clients. We know this road and we know this path. And if you run into a place and stub your toe, we can show you how to not do that the next time, right? And that's a great part of what we do because we know it and you really don't yet. You will one day, but when you start any adventure that's new, it really helps. Your progress goes much, much faster with a coach.
It does. And that importance of being able to align yourself with somebody who has the values that you have, has been where you are, and is where you want to be is utmost importance. And I'll share a story how that can be sabotaging if you pick the wrong mate. So I decided I'm going to start using, here in Culver City, there is something called the Culver City Stairs. It's cement bricks that are all the way up a hillside so that you can run up them, right? Like having stairs. And they're called Culver City Stairs, right? So as we go up the stairs, my girlfriend and I, she sees this girl who's been doing this. She's definitely a full generation younger than us. And she's been doing it a while, and she's wearing everything to show off her figure. The woman I'm with goes, wow, I'd love to have a body like that. And I'm like, then keep doing this. And so we're finished, cut to another hour later at the bottom of the stairs. And she goes, oh, good. I can go get my McDonald's shake now as a reward.
Yeah, the wrong reward.
That's the wrong kind of reward. So double check that your rewards are not, sabotaging the efforts that you just put in. You cannot spend calories that you can't spend them twice. You can't burn them twice either. So anyways, these are things to keep in mind. Is, am I sabotaging my success by, one, having the wrong partner around who is like, that's okay, you can have that extra ice cream scoop, or I'll go to McDonald's with you and watch you eat as you just sabotage that beautiful workout we just did. Or, you don't want enabling behavior. You want people who are going to hold your feet to the fire and go, I don't think that's the best look for you if you want that body. How about you take a picture of her next time, or crop it out of some other picture somewhere and keep it on your phone. Wherever it says, open up the McDonald's app to order, it's her, she comes up. Pick a different reward. So what are some good rewards, some positive rewards that are not tied to, let's talk, like you mentioned, food and going out to eat and having our favorite food. What are some other things that are not necessarily food related that we could jump to? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I call this my bunny slipper day. I think a reward can be self-care. It could be staying in your pajamas all day and, putting on a face mask, taking a bath with Epsom salts. It could be reading a book and making a cup of hot tea. Just whatever works for you that's soothing and relaxing, which is really important for your nervous system, which will help you stay on track. It doesn't have to be food. It could be dancing, like you said, Heather.
Right. Exactly. Dancing, massage, just like you were saying, self-care, anything that a trip, maybe you could go on that trip now, or go someplace that you've wanted to go. Get a book, a book that you've been wanting to get. You can reward yourself with healthy rewards. Not the McDonald's McBook, but a regular book.
I get great satisfaction with crossing something off of my to-do list. So when I accomplish, or even on my calendar, check mark, I did it. That just floats my boat. Yeah, everything seems simple. I think it's something there's something that I've wanted to do, which is I live in it's not a small city, 100,000 people, but as a small downtown, old buildings and interesting stores. And I've always thought, oh, I'm going to take Friday off or take a Friday off and go down there and just walk around and see what's going on, treat myself to lunch, enjoy window shopping. I know that's kind of a girl thing, but I don't know. Guys got their own their own rewards that they want to do. But I think that's going to be something I need to put down first quarter next year. I'm definitely going to do that. Actually, in January.
Yeah, they say the best way to manifest something is to touch it, right? Go touch it.
Yeah. Good. Just something to do. Pretty thing, good visual, pretty things really lift up my mood. Even I go through a garden center, a nursery, just because I want to see the green, which we don't have so much here in the Midwest now. Like I said, it's 20 degrees and 4-degree wind chill today, and everything's brown. So I can go to a garden center, revitalized. It's a good feeling.
It is. I have to agree. I love doing nurseries. I always say when I retire someday, I just want to be the one to water the plants in the nursery.
Yeah.
Just be around all that beautiful living greenery. So
and smell the wet earth, the smell.
I love that. Yes. And then the sweet blossoms of the flowers. Yes.
I'd like to give a story. I have a cousin that he was smoking so much. I mean, and drinking and smoking, and he really wanted to quit, and that was his New Year's resolution. He ended up moving in with us, and so he would fail, and the reason why he would fail is because certain things would come up, like if he went by a certain area where all of his friends were, that was kind of what he did with those people. He would sit and drink and smoke, so it was just common. Or if he had a bad day and he got upset about something, that's what relaxed him, was going and having a drink, going and smoking. And so when he moved in with us, I got him on our mineral balancing program. And then he started getting better energy. And I said, don't drive home that way from work anymore. I said, when you drive home, you see that group of people and it triggers what you do with them. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but you're trying to quit something that they're doing. And so he started going a different way home. And then when you get really upset, he started going on hikes and fishing. Instead of, when he get upset, he would go and, drink and smoke. So he stopped. He eventually quit it altogether. And he said he didn't even think about it anymore. But those are the skills that we're talking about of ways to cope and strategies.
It's a good one. Did he change friends? Did he find friends who like to fish? And
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. He found other people. It's hard. It's not an easy. You have to really want it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just too easy to fall right back into where you're comfortable.
Yeah, that old comfort zone. And there was a really great study that just came out about the reflection of those who are in their 70s and older of things they had realized about life. And I think we oftentimes go after our goals as if we're doing the play hard, work hard, or the other way around, work hard, so play hard. And we skip the one thing that these groups of 70-year-olds that were reflecting, they said, the one thing I neglected to do was give my body recovery time. And I think that's something that the program does automatically, because it goes through these cycles of healings in a way where it allows you to recover from a healing you just did. And it can help open up what you're talking about, Heather, is emotional strength to get through the ups and downs of a goal that we're trying to achieve, because we're going to fail. And I think going to fail along the way, as long as we get up and try again, we're not fully failing. We're continuing.
We're on the journey.
On the journey, exactly.
Yeah, on the journey.
Recovery, I think, is a big part of any achievement. We have to give ourselves some time. We're talking about celebrating. Well, sometimes we celebrate a little too hard, right? To play hard. So,
6 McDonald's shakes in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I could do 1, I'll do 6.
Well, I want to discuss a little more deeply about that recovery and how important it is, and how that's integral to the success of anybody on a program such as this. If they're wanting a goal for the year, their New Year's resolution to be, I want to be healthier let's give them a playbook. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Setting time aside to where you're not busy. I think we're so just how we live, I used to have my schedule just jam packed from morning until, and then I'd add more on top of it. So eventually got sick, of course, no time to eat, no time to sleep. Well, that's boring, but I ended up getting really sick and not being able to do a whole lot. So when I got on this program, there was the coach is paramount here, having somebody that will help you, but just picking one thing, starting with that, but resting allows your body to rebuild. Instead of breaking it down, resting helps us digest. Resting helps us eliminate toxic metals. Resting does great things for our complexion and our mood.
Yeah, food.
Those are all very good points, Heather. And I agree with everything you said. And I want to just add in resting also is crucial to healing the nervous system. And when you can get that nervous system balanced and regulated, then you can conquer the world in a restful, peaceful manner, not in a striving, like kind of from that flow state. I just read this really interesting statistic yesterday. I'm reading this book on breath. That's a really important thing to talk about too. And I don't know if you all know this, but I just learned this. So if you guys have an Apple Watch, there's a little health app on there with a little red heart. And you can go in and see all this data that's constantly collected all day long. And there's something called the HRV, which is heart variability rate. Well, I just learned that as you turn 60 and older, your heart rate variability decreases, and it's tied into the vagus nerve in the body, which is tied into your nervous system. And, it's something that it's an easy tool. You all can open up your phones. I only know this for the Apple. I'm sure it's on all phones. And you can look at your heart rate variability and what the range is for your age. Because as we get older, we lose flexibility in our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. And it's really important, I think, to make sure you take time every day to breathe. And I don't mean like just walking around, like to sit quietly and breathe and relax and keep your whole autonomic nervous system in balance so you can set goals for yourself, so you can reach whatever it is you're looking for. Anyway, I wanted to share that. I didn't know this was a thing, and I got all excited about it. You seem to know about it, Eva.
I do. Yeah. There's something called Heart Math that's been out there for a while, and you get a little sensor goes on your finger, you plug it into your computer, similar to your Apple Watch app. And the idea is that you sit with a visual that gives you the breathe in and you match it.
I know that. Yes.
Right. So there's that part. But then what it does for your ability to get into homeostasis is lovely, because you may get into this place and look, and then with new eyes, go back to your New Year's resolutions and go, these aren't at all aligned with what I feel like when I'm sitting in this place of stillness and coherence. What I think about, what I think I want must align with what my heart wants. And that's a place that you can only get to with what you're talking about. It's great.
It's really cool. And now we have all this great technology. You can see like, wow, you can actually look at the number range and say, wow, I've been in my sympathetic nervous system now for the last 8 hours. No wonder I feel like I'm going to pull all the skin off my body. And it was also curious for me, like, why. I know the answer, but like, really, as we get older, there's so much less flexibility in our nervous system. It's a proven fact. Like we have to really take care of our bodies. Food, breathing, walking, being quiet, not overdoing. So we're in balance, so we can do whatever we need to do in our daily life, whatever that looks like for anybody. So it's kind of was an exciting little tidbit for me. So now, of course, I have to remember not to be this overachieving perfectionist and stop looking at your number, Joy. You calm or not? I know I'm calm.
Your number's going to tell you.
I know the number's going to show me. I'm like, I already
so
know.
funny.
My heart's pounding, right?
What is it?
Oh God. You know, but that's
Oh,
another
funny.
thing that kind of gets in our way is this perfectionism. If I can't do it right or perfectly, I'm not going to bother doing it. So anyway, lots to talk about.
I like that idea about, although trying not to be obsessive about checking the Apple Watch. I like that idea about resting. And but I really like, two things about that. Well, one was about looking at something for objective feedback, which is the work that we do with the hair tissue mineral analysis. Every 3 months, you can retest, or every 6 months, because the hair holds 3 months worth of mineral data, and it'll tell you about your heavy metals as well. And it'll tell you how your adrenals are how much energy output your adrenals are capable of giving you, how much thyroid is capable of giving you. I think there's 17 biomarkers in there, but those two are relevant for what we're talking about right now. So you can see if you're going into a sympathetic overdrive. If you're pushing yourself too hard, and what your body really needs is to rest and relax. And one of the ways there's a popular thing that's been going around the business community for a while called the Pomodoro method. And I think Pomodoro means tomato in Italian, but I have to look that up. But it refers to like one of those little kitchen timers. It looked like a tomato, so they call it the Pomodoro. You can set that. You can set your iPhone, or set a timer for 50 minutes. And the idea of the Pomodoro method is every 60 minutes includes a 10-minute break. And there's a lot of science to show that the brain functions better and the body calms down, right? You're not pushing your adrenals so hard. You just function at a much better level when you take a break. That was very difficult for me, because when I get on a roll, I want to work for 6 hours straight. I don't want any interruptions. I'm not going to the restroom. I don't want to drink the water. I don't want to eat. I'm so task focused. And that's a very important habit that I continue to be challenged with to break. But one of the things that helps is being able to set the timer. So now I'm thinking, okay, now I got to figure out this Apple Watch thing. And I'm not going to check it except when the 10-minute mark.
Oh, that's funny.
To stop some of our obsessive compulsive behaviors,
right?
In a way that really helps us and incorporates all these beautiful recommendations.
Yeah.
I think we've covered the gamut, at least in a spattering way. This is a huge topic, and we attempted to cover it in a half hour, but I've come to the conclusion after our discussion that I believe we're setting our New Year's resolutions backwards. That in getting into this place of being with ourselves, for ourselves, and motivating ourselves to be in alignment with what's good for us, now that motivation will help us create what New Year's resolutions we want to have. And actually, stop calling them New Year's resolutions, because successful people don't wait for the first of the year to start new things.
Okay.
That's a nice ending there.
Well, this has been the perfect balance. Let's say our goodbyes and we'll wrap it on out.
I'm Dr. Heather Kneale with Global Nutritional Healing.
I'm Joy Feldman with co-founder of Global Nutritional Healing.
Leslie Brown, CEO and founder of Conquer Chronic Illness.
And Eva Vennari with the Elevate Institute. This has been the perfect balance. Thank you for joining us. We'd love to hear about your resolutions. Put them below. All right. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye.